This is Company of Heroes history. Hello and welcome to another episode of Company of Heroes history. Today this is episode 11 and we're going to take, for the first time, a look at a match on Sturzdorf. Now this is a peculiar version of the map, as I'll show you that very quickly first before I introduce the players. And it was super duper imbalanced, even more so than some believe it is today. First thing to look at is this plus 16 munitions. This plus 16 munitions now is further out rather than here where we see it today. It's further out, much easier to decap. We also see that this point here, which today would be a plus 10 munitions point, is not there. So actually this person's equivalent to this point here, this plus 10 munitions that the northern base has access to, is this one here, which is far further away and is pretty much equidistant between the two bases. There's a couple more changes around the map, like this plus 16 munitions is missing here in favor of a fuel point, but and this plus 16 munitions is down here instead of the plus 5 fuel, so they've been switched over. But generally speaking, that's the difference. We also see in this area now, as this first engagement goes down between the engineers and the pioneers, is that actually this way of getting up here is not there. So just by wiring this off, you can completely deny access to this area of the map to the southern player. Anyway, first we're going to see this engagement between Nystrom as the allied player in the north, and it is Aniketos who is playing in the south as the Axis. Now this game is actually an interesting one. It's the second game of a best of 3 series between the two players in the Cal League. Now Cal League was about as close as we got to esports for Company of Heroes, at least in 2006. So it's very interesting to see that this is kind of one of the earliest esports games we saw for Company of Heroes. They're two very good players and they were kind of battling it out at the top to win the Cal League. And in this game, as I say, is the second in the series. Aniketos won the first one with 410 VPs remaining. What that means is that for Nystrom to have choice of map and civilization in the third game, in the decider, he has to win this game and win it with more than 410 VPs remaining on the clock. So that's something, a little extra thing we'll have to keep a lookout for as we move forward in this game. Now we see that Aniketos has chosen to wire this off here. That's interesting to me. It does deny access to the strategic point and will make it difficult for Nystrom, at least in the short term, to connect this fuel, which as we can see on the tactical map is cut off by this. But at the same time, it also means that his pioneers are in a bit of an awkward situation. I'm not sure if they are on the right side or wrong side of that. In fact, let's switch quickly over to his side and see where they are. Yes, indeed. So these pioneers are kind of stuck on the wrong side of that wire. He's going to have to cut that himself to find his way through, unless he's able to capture that point from the wrong side. In the meantime, in the south, we see that Nystrom's riflemen have been able to chase off this camping pioneer squad of Aniketos, but not before he captures both the fuel, munitions, and VPs. So as we can see, Nystrom, whereas in other situations you might be pretty quick to get the fuel back there, or the munitions, he's gone straight for the VP. Obviously concerned about getting faction choice in the next game. So we'll see this pioneer trapped behind the wire. In the meantime, the Volksgrenadiers moving to this very far away fuel point, managing to get the decap off. I mean, it's actually absurd if you look at how far away this is from your base, from the southern base. It's actually crazy to how far you have to go to decap that, relative to where the American has to go here from the HQ to the fuel point. Is so close. It's, if anything, closer to the allied to the northern base than the southern base. Anyway, and as we see now, this easy harassment of the plus 16 munitions has already begun. Rifleman squad getting here very quickly indeed. Looks like this did get out. Maybe he deleted that wire, which you could actually do in these builds of the game. Your own wire, you could delete it easily without just a quick press of a key, so you never had to worry about being trapped by your own wire. It's just reminded me of that fact. Aniketos choosing to move his MG here, take it out. It was in that position there, locking down this area, but he's chosen to move it to try and suppress this squad here. Volksgrenadiers coming over too, as long as the second Volksgrenadier squad, kind of overkill to some degree. Might have been worthwhile leaving it there to prevent a flank going off, but it looks like Nystrom might be elsewhere, capping the map at the minute. No attempt to flank coming in at all. Those pioneer squads moving to the north now. Got to be a little bit careful with that little HP, but we'll see how that goes down. Looks like he's trying to get this munitions point online. This extra plus 10 munitions. Interesting to see that Nystrom doesn't seem to have capped anything in this side of the map. He's really focusing on the south and middle, maybe thinking that that's where he's more likely to get access to those VPs, keep them under control. As it is right now, almost dead even at 478-ish. Oh, this Pioneer squad has been worried. Yep, send them out. With very low health, they were almost certain to go down. In the meantime, Engineer squad is kind of got dibs on this building, making sure that the MG can't get in there. Very hard to get that out once it gets in, particularly if you've got a couple of Volksgrenadier squads that can prevent the flanks, which Aniketos does have. In the meantime, he did cap under fire there, pretty decent distance away, and he has gone for tier 2. Now this rifleman squad is doing a fantastic move here. It depends if they don't get suppressed. So now we're seeing the kind of disadvantage of being the southern player and then trying to control these fuel points. You are so easily flanked, but down here, right down the middle of this left side of the map, so easily flanked and can be cut off quite easily. It's only a low munitions point, is it? Where is it gone? Actually, see it. That was very strange. Yeah, it's only a low munitions point, so it gets capped very quickly. Same for the strategic point. Very easy to do there for the allied player, as we're seeing now from Nystrom. Now we see Nystrom, he's kind of consolidated the left and middle, and now one good engagement, kind of started off by that cap there. He's able to rush over to the northern map and kind of undo a lot of the good work that Aniketos has done to this point. That rifleman squad will get suppressed though, and if this is the MP40 squad, it's not the MP40s, they happen to be the Volkswagen this way. Not cap. So they aren't there going to be able to quickly come over here and deal with this suppressed squad, but nevertheless, you know, he has stabilized somewhat. You know, I would expect this Volksgrenadier with full HP, and some of these riflemen still not fighting back. Looks like that's going to be a pretty easy win for the rifleman. He's still capping, actually, taking extra damage. Do get out of there now. A lot of mines going down in the north, desperately trying to protect that VP and the fuel point, which he's now put an observation post on. So he's going for tier 3 here. Might be a nice tier 3 player of Aniketos. I think that would be quite a strong play, given the amount of fuel income he's had to this point. Does have to be a little bit careful, though, that he doesn't get pushed off completely. Those mines will help a little bit with that, but they aren't in isolation going to be able to hold that north and make sure he keeps that fuel flowing in. So interesting to see how he tries to get on top of that. So he's not going to build straight away. He's got an awful lot of resources banked, so looks like the squad's retreating to build his tech right now. In the meantime, let's just switch quickly over to Nystrom, see what he's getting up to. Doesn't look like he has a great deal of units on the map. Flamer, a couple of rifleman squads, locking down these key houses. Pretty smart move, I think. Another rifleman squad moving up here, going into that building in the north. Looks like they are going to try and get that VP online. It's a very interesting move that he went for that building first. That's a good move. A little bit of luck there, probably, given where he's got in there. When he comes out, he might be lucky and avoid these mines that we saw being placed earlier. Indeed it is. Look at that. Straight past it. Nice bit of luck there. Oh, no, he decides to swing left, though. Does dodge those mines. Oh, and Aniketos unfortunately forgot to redo that wire. That's a real mistake. I mean, clearly, he had the strategy. His intention was to keep that online. He's supposed to have. In the meantime, though, big push on the left-hand side. AMG and those two Volkswagen squads. Looks like they might get... There's a possibility for a flank here for Nystrom, but you know, with the support of these MP40 Volksgrenadiers, I'm not sure they're going to be able to do too much damage, even if they do manage to get the flank off. Although, you know, the unflanked squads have managed to do quite a lot of damage here, and that Volksgrenadier might go down if he focus fires. No focus fire from Nystrom, and then they don't go down, and the forces a retreat. Nice move there from Nystrom, good engagement, I think. In the meantime, this rifleman squad in the north did get both the strat point decapped and the VP on... Oh, he hasn't got the VP online yet, because he tried to move to the VP by the looks of things, and did lose a little bit of health to that mine there. That was one mine. There's a second one there, so he's got to be careful. Having lost a lot of health on this squad, as well as one model, can very easily go down with another shot there. We'll have to see. We see Airborne from Nystrom. I didn't quite yet see where they have been dropped in. But it is Airborne first and foremost. There they are. They've been dropped right back in the base. Nice and safe there. Interesting choice. Airborne, of course, pretty strong. Got some good abilities. Strafe was very strong in this patch. Or was it the next patch? I'll check that. Decent, you know, Airborne, obviously always a decent choice. And there's Airborne, although they are quite expensive, it's quite expensive to reinforce. They're a very strong unit and can help out both against infantry and against vehicles with the recordless rifle upgrade that we see coming in right now. It's not quite in time to be ready for this first Puma coming out from Aniketos. Aniketos not deciding to push in there, obviously scared of the sticky bomb or a mine. Followed up with those recoilless rifles, being a little bit careful. Not moving in too far, still doing good damage. Recoilless rifles do come in now, so they will be able to chase away that Puma to a degree, or at least be able to limit the damage. MG though, supporting these two Volksgrenadiers, that both now have the MP40. And we do see the fire-up ability from those Airborne. I think that's very brave. If Aniketos is to move across there with his MP40s, he doesn't decide to do so. He prioritizes capping instead. Capping under fire here, losing a couple of models, losing a lot of health. Bit of a, not a, you know, nothing wrong with it necessarily, but a bit of a questionable decision, I would think. Because now, although he's got these 2 points online, he could very easily lose them immediately. Although we do see a Stug going for it, Stug 4. Moving out's going to help out in this engagement. He'll win the engagement overall by the looks of things, but he might, if he's not careful, he could very easily lose this MP40 squad. Puma being very aggressive now, chasing forward. Looks like he may go for the base. Forces a retreat by the Airborne squad, and these riflemen may get killed on retreat if they're not lucky. No death on retreat there, so Nystrom's done pretty well there. I mean, he's been forced off the map, but he has kept his map control, and he's got himself enough resources coming in that he can now start pumping out the M10s, which are very effective against tier 3 particularly, if it isn't supported heavily by pack guns or Panzerschrecks, which are really powerful against the M10s. I haven't seen a doctrine choice yet from Aniketos. Let's switch over very quickly and see exactly what he's going for. Looks like it is Blitzkrieg, so he will have access to Panzerschrecks on the Stormtrooper squads. Haven't seen any called in just yet. Let's have a quick look on the tactical map, see if we have any hidden around on the map. Doesn't look like it. Kind of a limited army then at the minute. Seems like, I mean, there's Pioneer on the squad on the left. We'll be very surprised if it doesn't go down. A couple of Pumas. MP40s will kill that, and a mine goes off too. That Stug lucky to avoid engine damage. That Pioneer did get out, by the way. M10 now revealed from Nystrom. If I was Nystrom, I might have been a bit more crafty with that and saved up until I had a couple. When you get into the situation where you're absolutely certain you can win the engagement against the Stug and then subsequently the Pumas. As it is though, he shows it. He's going to miss a few shots on that Pioneer squad. He's going to run a rifleman right into that MG. Wouldn't be surprised if we don't see a flanking squad coming around this way very shortly to make the most of that. In a minute, we see that Aniketos is very keen to remove the observation post from this fuel for Nystrom, trying to cut that fuel income and prevent some M10s getting in. Oh, the M10! It's a bit of an awkward situation. They're very difficult to flank with all of these tank traps standing around, but Aniketos pathing a little bit awkwardly amongst those tank traps. Here comes the flank. Looks like the rifleman did continue to push in. Flanking rifleman comes around the back. Maybe they don't have access to the grenades right now. Not seeing a grenade going in. Airborne also coming in the flank. I think these three squads should be able to do quite a lot of damage, make quick work of this rifleman squad even without the grenades. Pioneer squad as well, sitting right in the middle of this. In the middle of the melee, taking fire from all angles, but not yet going down. Looks like it may be too late for it now, though. MP40 squad comes along now, but in isolation, a little bit too late, I think. M10 gets a shot off, takes out one model, and now those MP40s aren't going to be able to do a great deal of damage from that distance, I wouldn't imagine. Kind of 3 wasted units here at the minute. Aniketos says, ooh! Aniketos had the tech advantage, but really hasn't been able to make the most of it at all. When he's got this northern fuel point soon anyway, we'll have that back online, which is good. He's got himself a pretty hefty set of units there, but he hasn't yet really made it pay. Now the M10 pushing forward here, only one Stug to deal with, and it's low health. And both the Pumas too are in low health, or if he pushed in there, would have been a little bit tricky to micro in this area, and of course, he must be wary of the mines now, having seen 2 go off. It's probably a bit lucky there, a good choice not to move in there. Maybe a bit of an attempt at a bait. Something just went down there. It looks like perhaps the Stug just brushed its way through this Jeep or the truck and made a little bit of damage, did a bit of damage. Oh, that seems to be different than today. It's kind of a different angle. Interesting. Stormtrooper now on the field. I wonder if it will get Panzer Strikes on that. It'll certainly help out against the M10s, supposing they hit, of course, which is never guaranteed. Oh, the M10 shows the option to go the long way around and get a little flank off on that Stug. It didn't, unfortunately, get the penetration, but nevertheless, nice maneuver there. Where are the Pioneers for Aniketos? Are they already in the north? Here they come. He's going to want to get those healed up pretty quickly. I'd be very worried if I was him that a large chunk of my army was going to be pretty scared to engage anywhere, because he's already seen there's AT guns in the field, and I think any one of these things could go down in one. Maybe one, but certainly 2 shots would be enough to take any of these out, I believe. Oh, and now he sees the AT gun is there. Stormtroopers may decide to push in, but he's going to be very careful. The target priority. Oh, the AT gun chooses to move back instead of fighting. Panzer Strike is now coming in, but with the Sherman pushing it, he's going to be forced to retreat. A little bit of an awkward situation for that Stormtrooper there. Does have to get out of there. Manages to get out way okay, and we'll be upgrading that Panzer Strike in the meantime. But nevertheless, a little bit tricky. Nystrom still, you know, that critical number of 410, he's still well above that VP-wise. I wonder if Aniketos at what point, given under the cosh as he is at this point, I wonder at what point he might think about kind of rushing those VPs and making sure he gets a civilization choice and can choose his favorite civilization and map in that third game. I wonder if he'll prioritize that anytime soon. I think for the short term at least, he'll be pretty happy. He's got a decent income of both fuel and munitions. So I don't think that thought will be entering his head just yet, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not, you know, somewhere close around the corner. Bar's now in for Nystrom, so that's going to be another, just one more thing in the favor of him in these infantry battles. It's going to be a little bit tricky here. I mean, I'm looking at the infantry that Aniketos has on the field. He's got 1 MP40 squad and 1 Panzer Schrecked Stormtrooper squad, which isn't in isolation particularly powerful against infantry. Of course, they have the bundle grenade ability that can kind of turn that around. And if he manages to tech again, he can always get the MP44 on the squad to kind of make it a little bit of a jack of all trades. Do a little bit better against infantry as well as the tanks, but not just yet. He's banking an awful lot of money at this point. Maybe that he's saving for a stew, and he's hoping that he can get the stew and the extra Stormtrooper squad relatively soon. But he's a long way away from that yet. It's still half a CP. Could be that this bundle grenade, it might actually do a decent job though. If it manages to take out the squad, that could get him a lot of the way there. Bundle grenade goes in. Fantastic reactions from Nystrom. And he does manage to get out of there somewhat and reduce the damage. Only takes 2 models. Loses 2 models there. And he's still going to be a little ways away before he can get that stew on the field. I would also question whether stew is really the right option here. Oh! Aniketos was moving away there, and Nystrom chooses that exact moment to push in. Does a lot of damage to this one Stug with the combination of the AT gun and the Sherman. The Stug now pushes back over that other truck, goes down again very quickly. This Stug's the Sherman, excuse me, is a little bit out of position. He's got to be a little bit careful here. He's taking some shots from the side. Out of control on that Sherman then, so maybe, you know, a Stug going down for a Sherman, that's a very good trade. I'd certainly take that. Although this Stug now is turning its rear armor. Oh, it's going to be a little bit of trouble. It does look like it will likely get out of there. Yep, AT Eagles are going to do that. In the meantime, the other Stug did go down to the Airborne Infantry squad, so they've got a little bit of veterancy now. It'll help them out a little bit in the next future engagements. Aniketos did move down here and get the cap off on this victory point, but at the same time, Nystrom was quick to cap the northern victory point and did bring some of his Minesweeper Engineer squads as well. So they're in a good spot there. Oh, a nice flanking maneuver by these 2 Pumas. Do some good damage, take out 1 model on the AT gun. Now they're going to be able to take out an extra model to kill it completely before it gets another shot from this Puma. Oh, that's really unfortunate there. Just a matter of seconds between taking out the extra Puma, extra model and saving that Puma, but not to be. As it is, this other Puma really needs to be getting out of there, I think. And a little bit of trouble. Stu is now on the field with the extra Stormtrooper squad, which are getting their Panzer Shreks, so they'll help out in this engagement a lot. But the Stu, yep, it's going to help a little bit, pretty decent against these Rifleman squads. We already had Pumas on the field that could do a good job against those. The Stu isn't particularly good against M10s, does okay, but he would never be your your unit of choice. Not particularly good against AT guns. Not particularly good against Shermans. In fact, pretty bad against Shermans. So I'm not sure that was a particularly great idea. But we'll have to see how it goes. Stu now taking a lot of damage from this AT gun that's over here. A little bit of a misfire there, or at least it didn't manage to connect with the Stu. Comes forward, does connect that sector next time, gets it off in time. We see now Aniketos again capping VPs while under fire. He's clearly got the VP situation like clearly in his mind. Oh, looks like there's 2 bars went down there. Maybe a squad went down. Could have easily been a squad wipe. Puma again moving into the arc of fire of the AT gun. Loses pretty much half its health in one hit. Always a bit of a dangerous maneuver. This Volks Grenadier squad isn't going to be able to get the cap off. The suppressing fire ability from the rifles puts pay to that idea. These Stormtrooper squads making use of the house to get a little bit more range on their Panzerschrecks to maybe take out the M10. The M10 does manage to get away though. Now we see a satchel charge coming in. Gonna have to get out of there. That's quite a large. Oof. So quite a decent like cone, or what I mean. The area of effect of the satchel charge is much larger than a normal grenade, so you have to be very, very careful. Gonna get hit by that. Volks Grenadier squad with the MP4. He gets sniped by the AT gun. Does go down. This Sherman taking fire from a couple of Shrek squads, but doing a lot of damage to these Pioneer squads. Oh, and we see another squad go down there. This time a Stormtrooper moves their Panzer Shrek. He's going to want to pick that up as soon as possible, I think. Really nice micro in that fight from Aniketos, from Nystrom, I have to say. Looked a little bit tricky for a moment there, but he did manage to make the most of that. Lost a Rifleman squad, but kept his M10 alive, and they're really quite flimsy, so that's a nice move. A little bit of circle strafing here from the Sherman. Is Aniketos going to get the shot off? Looks like the Sherman's just about managing to stay out of his firing arc. It's another shot off on the Stug. Nystrom, I think at this stage, oh, it's got himself in it. Hits the wall. Rear armor hit. Both of them still have their main gun. Sherman not damaged engine. I mean, the Stug could absolutely have fired a shot there, but decided not to. Sherman doesn't quite manage to get the final shot away. Nice bit of micro there, but just fell short at the end. Wasn't able to turn that engagement around. Nystrom pushing again on the south side, getting this VP online. Clearly, really that's at the forefront of his mind. It's interesting, having those extra little things to think about sometimes kind of sharpen your senses and make you play those things a little bit different. Having said that, I think that this M10 now coming in out of nowhere. Looks like it's trying to take it out. That Stug does do something. Gets double vet. Double vet. I mean, of course it must have killed some infantry before that, but to skip single vet and go straight to double vet like that is really quite impressive. I hope that M10 gets out of there. He's going to want to save that vet truancy for the inevitable Tiger tank there. Does get away. Excellent M10 micro again from Nystrom. His tank micro has been really, really on point in this game, I would say. See a lot of Pioneers on the field here. Three squads of Pioneers on the field for Aniketos. Another one, fourth coming out. He's got a lot of manpower in the bank, but he doesn't really have many fighting forces. He has an MG, a Stormtrooper, and one Puma that is almost dead and could easily have gone down there. I think he really needs to get a few more sort of aggressive units on the field, whether it's another Stu and Stormtrooper combination. Satchel Charge goes in there. Oops, excuse me. Goes in there. Doesn't get the kill. Nice bit of micro from Aniketos to get out of there. Yep, and he's sitting there with an enormous amount of resources in the bank. I think he's going to regret that. Some of these engagements he's losing, he could easily have won if he had an extra 1,000. We're talking 2 or maybe even 3 squads difference there. I think a little bit of an oversight. He's gone for the Panzer Command. Okay, so he's gone for tier 4? Interesting decision. I mean, I would think... what could that possibly be for? He doesn't have a great deal of fuel income, so I hope he isn't thinking Panthers. Of course, Panthers do help against the M10s. They kind of 3-shot, or almost 3-shot M10s. They go down pretty quickly. Bundle Grenade goes down now, trying to decrew that. Good move. Oh, it doesn't quite manage to decrew it. It loses the veterancy. Oh, that does go down. Veterancy lost. That's a good move there. He needs to get out of there and save that. Call it a good engagement, I think. Yeah, so I wouldn't have thought it is Panthers. You know, anti-tank, they're pretty strong, good against the M10s, but they aren't going to help against this infantry too much. And there's plenty of rifleman squads on the field. Equally, they kind of, to a degree, overlap with the Tiger, which we see coming in now. Boom. Fantastic. I think if he hadn't teched that, if he hadn't teched the tier 4 and he hadn't built the Panzer Command, he could have been pretty close to getting 2 Tigers on the field immediately. You know, if we see that he's 700 manpower short at this point, you know, the extra 200 to do that and 200 to upgrade to the assault phase, and the 250 or extra that it is for the Panzer Command, you know, you're kind of halfway there at least. Well, would have been very, very close to having that extra Tiger on the field, which could have really helped, giving him that nice punch to push, at least push Nystrom off for long enough to get these VPs online. It's chosen to reposition this MG into that house. I'm not sure if that's much stronger. It is going to obviously do a little bit better job of holding down this VP, you might think. But in isolation, it's also only one model on it, so it could go down very quickly indeed. This M10 certainly is could cause some trouble. Tiger just momentarily pushed away, or kind of encouraged back by the Paulus rifles, now with double veterancy and a rifleman squad, and he must be scared of the stickies at this point. M10 as well, just lurking on the edge of his vision, kind of deterring him from moving in too far and getting his rear armor exposed to that powerful tank. This rifleman squad's going to be a little bit careful. I think one Panzerschreck could even be enough to take this building down, and the squad with it. We see a recon flight coming over. Oh, lost a unit. Saw a unit go down. I didn't see quite where it was. It looked like the MG in this building did go down. See a mortar out now, so it looks like it might be that Nystrom is already dropping supply drops from off the map. Hard to tell. You can never tell. Be quite sure he may have got the WSC, but I would expect that to be a supply drop there. He's really making most of it. Those Pioneers are sitting in a very suspicious position there. It looks like it isn't actually the fact they have a mine there, just a little bit of a bug. Lucky for Nystrom, who immediately rolled out that position. Goes in there, takes out another Puma, doesn't get the triple veterancy yet, but that M10 has been the MVP of this match for sure so far. It's taken out one Stug and a Puma and has moved in and out, keeping itself alive. Really good work. Tiger is going to benefit from the fact there's quite a few Pioneers on the field. May be able to move in here and get the shot off on this M10. This M10 is just sniping infantry. Fantastic. Look at that. This guns over this Panzerschreck squad will get out of control. Really sad to see that go down, but you know, not a surprise. They are a very flimsy unit. Oh, and that Tiger immediately just explodes that AT gun. Fantastic news for the Tiger. Having one less of those things that can kind of make it look like paper. A little bit of an awkward position here now, though. Finds itself between two rifleman squads. Awkward position. Oh, and this Panzerschreck squad, Stormtroopers also in a very awkward position, trying very hard to reload there. One Panzerschreck goes into that rifleman squad. We may see a second Panzerschreck on this rifleman squad soon. Choosing to rush in with only those two models. Ooh, wanted to get the sticky off and get before it decided to retreat. In the end, got out of there, but the second rifleman squad with the Panzerschreck was able to get a sticky bomb off, and this Tiger is now snared to a degree. It's going to be very careful with this rifleman trying to chase. Another sticky bomb and a Panzerschreck. A strafe now comes in. I'm not sure what that strafe was intending to do. Maybe he thought the strafe could finish off the Tiger. I'm not sure that's quite how it works. Nice one, but nice try. Interesting effort. Maybe it was a bombing run. Intention. He intended to use the bombing run there and missed it to a degree. Couldn't see it. Oh, and that was quite a lot of health that was left on them. Wouldn't have been surprised at all if that Tiger had tanked that shot and was still on the field. But as it is, Nystrom gets a little bit of luck, takes that out, and got all of his units out of there pretty much okay. Another very good engagement for Nystrom, I would think. He'll be pretty happy with that. Interesting, there's quite a lot of wrecks on the field here that Aniketos has chosen not to, or has neglected to salvage. There's a lot of munitions that he's missing out on there. Could help in getting a few extra Panzerschrecks, particularly after he's lost those two Panzerschrecks already. Interesting to see if these Pioneers do go for that now, or whether they're going to prioritize getting this Northern VP online, for example. Not quite sure how that'll go. The Panzer Command, yeah, when he teched it, and you haven't yet seen a single unit come out of it. And I think he's gonna look back on that as a real big mistake that he's made in this game. Nystrom now, let's go look at over on his side. How is he doing here? Yep, you can see that a lot of supply drops have been dropped in his base there. So he's benefited there from quite a significant amount of extra munitions and fuel. And he's had access to that mortar that's been really helping him out from back in here. Although the mortar does seem like it has gone down. Tiger tried to push in there, but very quickly lost a lot of health to that. Oh, we see a bombing run. Oh! What have you done, Nystrom? What have you done? Bombing run comes in.
Base improvements completed.
Bombing run comes in, takes out what looks like an entire engineer squad, a rifleman squad, decrews an AT gun, takes his Sherman down to 5% health. Could go down very quickly indeed. The Tiger comes in, finishes that off. The other AT gun may now get down to this bundle grenade. Chooses to try and shoot again. Does go down. Nystrom, what have you done? A little bit of bad language there from Nystrom. We'll have to meet that somehow. But that is a huge turnaround. I was thinking there for a second that Nystrom had this under control and would be winning that, but what an unfortunate moment there. I think it looks like he did use this. There's an attempt to strafe. I heard the strafe go off, but it whiffed completely. Didn't manage to hit anything, at least that I saw.
Losing a munition sector.
Nystrom really not pleased with the way that these strafes are working. I might have to check. I'll do a little quick blitz video and see how those actually work. I'll try and use a few and see how effective they are. And how easy they are to aim, for one thing, because that has been an absolute disaster for Nystrom now. I shouldn't laugh, really. He's you know, a top player, working hard. Oh, a huge shot from the Tiger. This is absolutely horrendous. Nystrom looks like you can kind of see a little bit of desperation creeping into his play now. He's desperately trying to rush these VPs, losing a lot of models, losing a lot of manpower in the meantime to do it. I mean, he's got an enormous amount of munitions in the bank. But you can see a bit of desperation in the way he's pushing out onto the map. And yeah, kind of taking engagements that maybe he doesn't necessarily have to. I mean, this one's a good engagement. A double Shrek squad has basically no anti-infantry power since the Shreks had their infantry accuracy nerfed. Does have another Sherman on the map though. I think perhaps Nystrom, once he calms down and gets his head around this, he'll realize that he's still in, I would say, in the box seat. He's got a few more good fighting units on the map. Although he lost so much in that bombing run. He could always recrew this one AT gun. And it's not the end of the world. He's also got the triple cap on now with Aniketos only having 100 VPs in the bank. Could be in trouble. Oh, he also managed to push off this Stormtrooper squad in the south. Oh, another huge shot from that Tiger. This engineer squad isn't going to want to stick around for too long. Does manage to retreat just in time, it seems. Yep, Nystrom does manage to get this AT gun back. There's another one here. Could easily have two before long. Plenty to show. I was going to say plenty to scare away this Tiger, but it turns out he actually has two Tigers on the map now. This is big, big trouble. Oh, you see the smoke ability going down now, and another bombing one coming in. This one looks like it might be much, much better indeed. Yep, a couple of Pioneer squads go down. Tiger loses a lot of its health. You see that suppression ability being used on this squad on the left. Going to keep that VP under his control. And Nystrom actually playing this really quite beautifully. Aniketos choosing to push in with that Tiger. Immediately the Sherman plasma shield, we've seen in a recent Blitz episode that does help a lot. Might not be kind of an invincibility cloak as some people described it as, but it's certainly a powerful ability that's going to help you in that engagement. Another AT gun drop from the sky. Can take a shot at the rear armor of this Tiger. He must be in a bit of trouble. Not shooting in a minute. Nystrom not happy. Oh, beautiful, like, curveball thrown there over the top of that mound. Does manage to take out the tank, and that's another Veteran C2 Rifleman squad having taken out a tank. Another smoke bomb going down as well. Nystrom not shy about using and reusing that ability. Triple Veteran C now on this Rifleman squad, taking out. It looks like he's going to take out both of these Stormtrooper squads, and you know, having just a couple of minutes ago, it appeared to be in a really, really difficult situation. Nystrom has now completely turned this around. Dropping in a couple of extra AT guns, recrewing another AT gun. He's been able to take out these two squads of infantry. Oh, I hope that doesn't go down. Oh, and with that, Tiger goes down, 2 Stormtrooper squads go down, the veteran CP riflemen get out of there with their lives, just about hanging on by a thread. And with the VP situation as bad as it is, this might now just be game for Nystrom. How things turned around twice there, extremely quickly indeed. Yep, this squad will be back on the field before long at all, I would think, and this rifleman squad is in a good position to cap this VP and finish it off. A little bit of a philosophical discussion now going on between the players about the use of the smoke. I mean, it doesn't really matter here. I think I fall somewhere between the players on this point. I don't think that this engagement would have gone necessarily that much different without it, but yeah, nevertheless, it certainly would have helped a little bit. I mean, to think that those 2 Tigers running around trying to shoot this Sherman, and it's after the engagement is over, it still has 75% health. Yeah, pretty strong. Yeah, looks like this game is like ticking down now. The players are now kind of chatting about it. Now, I think my understanding is that, that was Nystrom's game before the bombing run. Then Aniketos just had a small window there. A tiny window where he might have been able to turn it around if he'd been able to really take advantage of that botched bombing run from Nystrom. As it is, he wasn't able to kind of, take advantage of that and really get back on top. Tier 4 was a waste in the end. I think we've all made that move before, thinking we need a little bit of extra bulk on the field, and maybe we aren't going to be able to bridge to the Tiger enough to bridge to the Tiger without losing map control, so we try and get Tier 4 first. In this situation, didn't end up using it, so it's a bit of a waste of manpower, but nevertheless, I think Aniketos put up a good fight there from South Sturzdorf, which is not a position I ever want to be in. But in the end, Nystrom was just too strong, played just too well, and even despite that, the mishap and a bit of a mistake, he was able to close out the win. So I hope you've enjoyed that game. We have one more game to watch from patch 1.4, which I think you'll really enjoy. It's a team game featuring some really solid players, and indeed one person who could be one of certainly as a contender for the very best player who was around during the vanilla Company of Heroes era. So I hope you look forward to that, and I'll see you again next time.